Good afternoon everyone, my name is Jordan Ikban and on this video we will talk about Kurt Lewine's field theory. Kurt Lewin was a German-American psychologist known as one of the modern pioneers of social, organizational, and applied psychology in the United States. One of his theories is the field theory. But before we discuss the important concepts in the learning field theory, let us first define what a field is. So, a field is a psychological concept. Every individual has his own field of perception and field forces. A field consists of a person and his psychological environment, wherein psychological environment implies the mental world in which a person lives at a defined moment of his life. There are 8 important concepts in the field theory of Kurt Lewin. First we have is the life space. Life space is a psychological representation of individual's environment. The life space includes the person and everything in the environment that influence the person's behavior. It includes both the things of which the person is consciously aware and the factors which can influence even though the person is unconscious of them. An object which exists but of which the person is not aware and which does not influence him would not be a factor of his life space. Similarly, if an object does not exist but of which the person thinks to be there and reacts to it becomes a part of his life space. It includes the person's drives, motives, beliefs, tensions, thoughts, feelings, and his physical environment, which consists of perceived objects and events. The life spaces of two persons in an identical situation may be entirely different. The person is often represented as a point moving about in his life. Psychologically, a person is composed of two components which are motor perceptual stratum, which refers to the abilities, and inner personal stratum, which refers to the needs. Next we have topology. Topology is a non-metrical geometry which includes concepts such as inside, outside, and boundary. In other words, this refers to the components that are present in the environment of a person. Next we have is foreign hull. The life space is surrounded by a non-psychological boundary called foreign hull. This includes all tangible things that are inside the environment of a person. We also have vectors. Vectors are borrowed from mathematical system used in mechanics to describe the resolution of forces. A vector is usually represented by an arrow, and it has magnitude, direction, and point of application. In field of psychology, a vector means a force that is influencing psychological movement towards or away from a goal. Next we have valences. Valences are the attracting or repelling powers of regions. Objects may have either positive or negative valence. The movement of person is decided by the valence of the goal. We have two kinds of valence. First we have is the positive valence. Positive valence refers to the object or goal which satisfy needs or are attractive to the person. We also have negative valence. Negative valence refers to the object or goal which threatens the individual or are repulsive to the person. A person tends to move toward a region in life space that has positive valence, and he tends to move away from a region in life space that has negative valence. Next we have conflict. Conflict refers to the state or tensions brought in by the presence of two opposing desires of an individual. If only one vector impelling upon the individual, he will move in the direction indicated by the vector. If two equally balanced vectors are operating, the result is what we call a conflict. As the person is influenced by several valences at a time, these give rise to conflict. Next we have barriers. A barrier is a psychological obstruction. They restrict the person's movement towards the goal and the path he must follow to reach his goal. Barriers may be objects, people, social norms, or anything which threatens the motivated individual as he is moving towards the goal. And last we have is the locomotion. Locomotion in life space is delineated by a geometrical representation of the selection of alternative, the examining of possibilities, and the setting out towards the goal. Learning takes place as a result of locomotion from one region of life space to another. When a person moves from one region to another, the structure of life space undergoes change. In summary of this field theory of Kurt Lewin, it only states that learning is a process of perceptual organization or reorganization of one's life space involving insight and emphasizes on behavior and motivation in learning. We can also understand this by looking at this equation. According to this theory, the behavior, which represents the letter B, of an individual is a function of interacting person, letter P, in the total psychological environment situation, which is letter E. And now, let's talk about the educational implications of this theory by Kurt Lewin. The theory implies that motivation is an important factor in bringing changes in the cognitive structure of a student. In order to motivate the students, the teacher has to identify both the driving as well as the restraining forces that are present in the life space of each student. The theory also implies that the teacher should organize his instructional strategies in a manner which will be at the level of exploratory rather than explanatory understanding. The theory also states that a change in the structure of knowledge may occur with repetition. Too much repetition does not aid learning, so teachers should take steps to avoid repetition. And last, teachers should use reward and punishment according to the needs of the situation, as Lewin accepted the value of reward and punishment in learning. And that's the field theory of Kurt Lewin. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to raise your hands. Thank you and have a nice day.